Everyday superpower. We talk game, body language, relationships, everything in between. Yes, yes, yes. Today, I'm going to break down the two paths. That is the path of the man and the path of the woman. We're talking attraction, we're talking value. In particular, we're definitely talking the sexual marketplace value. And I'm going to say to you, man, hold in there. If you're not necessarily doing as well as you would like to be with the women, that's completely fine. It's part of the process. No worries at all. Now, with that being said, a woman's value is found in her youth. If you look at the women of older ages, they apply makeups and tummy tucking lingerie and go and get surgery and so on and so forth to replicate the essence of youth, right? They may dye their hair different colours to hide the greys. Why would you need to dye your hair? A lot of men don't need to do that. They go grey naturally. And a woman will dye her hair lighter colours, blonde, for example, which is symbolic of youth, right? Makes you question why Boris Johnson does it. Makes you wonder why Donald Trump does it. Because in comparison to their competition, who may be going grey, it's symbolic of youth and longevity in the game, as opposed to being old and outdated and something to be pushed to the side. Right, cool. Youth in the woman represents fertility. Fertility represents procreation. Procreation is the second most important thing in your biological purpose. Number one being survival of self. So, if you're surviving within reason, it doesn't mean you have to be thriving and surviving. It just means if you've got a roof over your head, if you're managing to pay your bills, if you're managing to eat adequate enough to not worry about getting food, and so on and so forth. Second, you may start to find interest in pursuing women or, the idea of wanting a woman. There, procreation is number two, because then that continues on your lineage, your legacy, your biological makeup. That is samsara, the endless cycle of life, the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail and continuing on into foreverness, right? Duality. So, what happens is the woman gets all of the attention in the world. Her value is through the roof while she's young. She's not interested. Let's say you're both 18 years old. You're both 19 years old. You're both 20 years old. You're both 21, 22, 23, 24 years old. You are a man and she's a woman. She may be dating you at some point, but her suitors or her potential suitors are way more preferable to her and her biological impulse of men who are a little bit older. I'm not saying they need to be 10 years, 20 years older. I'm saying 2, 3, 4 years older, because you have to understand within that particular age category, yeah, especially considering that women mature faster than men. That is a biological fact. She can be with you and you're broke ass, or she could be with someone who's been promoted to supervisor now, or somebody who has his own car, or somebody who has moved out of his parents and is living by himself. That is the difference between 1 year when it comes to them early stages of development when we enter adulthood, right? And so you might be thinking, bro, I can't get no girls. Why are girls not interested in me? It's because in the eye of the general adult woman populace, you are still essentially considered a boy. And you will see this as you continue aging and you look at, as long as you keep your purpose in check and you continuously continue working and attempting to materialize your reality or your perceived reality of everything you've ever wanted, you will start to see men whom are 5 years younger than you, in a position of youthfulness, but not necessarily in a positive light, more so in a childish light. And the woman sees that tenfold, because that woman is looking for that man, not that boy, who can provide, who can essentially give her what she needs. The provisions being security, maturity, safety, longevity, health is important, and so on and so forth. So these men find beauty in the young girls. And that's not to say... it's controversial, because you can only say so much without someone saying, oh, that's not politically correct, or that isn't societally correct, right? If you look at the leading categories on pornographic websites and so on and so forth, you will see that grown men, or general men should I say, have an inclination towards women who aren't in their 40s, who aren't in their 50s. There's a biological purpose behind that, right? These younger women can produce, they are fertile, right? They can provide kids. And that is it. You can say, oh, she looks good. Oh, I can get off to her. Oh, I can sit in front of my computer and wank off to her and all this and that. Yeah, but indirectly, unconsciously, there is an undercurrent of reality that is your biological impulse to be attracted to this woman because your body and your brain wants to procreate with that woman to ensure your survival tenfold as opposed to just yourself, procreate and spread your genes and your seed and do whatever a man animalistically needs to do. That is why she's valuable. And that is why, as a man, as you get older, you start to garner more value. Now you start to take on the role of the person as to who she craves, that being the father figure, because she's left home now. She's not got that man to keep her into check. She's not got a leader. And when you consider women liking leaders, you have to take into consideration you are not necessarily leading if you are emotionally and mentally immature in relation to her being around the same age. But when you are leading in age, that's another facet of your leadership. And you can say, oh, well, I'm not after a girl with daddy issues and that. If you look at every relationship that is around you, generally speaking, that woman is going to be younger than that man. All right. This plays out in society anywhere you look. And if it's the vice versa, generally that woman can be in a position to play that man or that boy a little bit more. So she's valuable at that moment in time. Now, she is valuable at 20. She's valuable at 21, 22, 23, 24. Arguably, some say the prime as far as a woman's sexual marketplace value, around 23, peaks at around 23 years old. She can have multiple children. She is mature in the degree that she is a grown adult. She doesn't have, she's, at least in England, she is an adult or considered an adult at the age of 18. But her mental maturity, not necessarily. I mean, if you've spoken to someone who's flipping 21, there could be an incredible divide. One of them being actually quite grown for their age, and some of them still stuck as if you're talking to a flipping teenager. And it's for a mature man, unless you're just in it for one thing, it tends to be less than intellectually stimulating and quite the turn off, to be honest with you. But hey, each to their own. Now, she's valuable at this age because she can provide. Her fertility, looks, and youth are optimized around this particular age, right? Men, on the other half, no. Because if you take into consideration that a man's value is within his resource, his status perhaps, and maybe even his health and fitness, because given you are continuous on that, these people who are into looks maxing and stuff like that, you're still not going to have the rugged physique development and physical maturity of a man that she craves comfort within the arms of until you're a few years older, when you've spent time in the gym, when you've, been physically active for a longer period of time. That's just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. So you continue as a man to develop your value into your mid-30s, maybe even onto your 40s, right? You're not going to stop because you're going to continue being fertile. Now, the thing is, she's been ignoring you during this period, or at least your equivalent has been ignoring you. Let's say you're 24 years old. She's not interested in you because she's got men who are like 27, 28, 29, 30 who are speaking to her, who've done so much and have got so much to provide and have, the means of intellectually stimulating her through communication tenfold of what you've got, because you just simply don't have the life experience and the masculine means to produce for that woman. Now, let's say you continue aging and you both get to 30 years old. Now, she's had her experience and she wants to settle down. And the reason she wants to settle down is because her biological body clock is ticking in. Whether she is consciously aware or whether her subconscious is forcing this message to the forefront. She knows she's running out of time to procreate. And as I said, she's survived this long. She's more or less surviving now. So procreation is the box that still needs to be ticked off. And all of these women can tell you, I don't want to have a child, I don't want to have a child, I don't want to have a child. There is a biological protocol that exists within that woman. If she can have a child, it will be in the back of her mind at the very least, right? So if you serve as the potential suitor within her subconscious mind's eye, then she will pursue you and want you. So you're both 30 years old now. She didn't care about you when you were a little boy working, a desk job or on the phones for a call center or, on the counter of a firm or, you know what I mean? She didn't care for you at this moment in time because she knew her value, and in knowing her value, she spread herself far and thin, right? You as the man didn't understand your capability at this point, so you're sort of lost, wondering to yourself, why don't women like me? Why aren't women attracted to me? Man, is there something wrong with me that women my age, if not a little bit younger, aren't looking at me, let alone women who are older? The only women who are interested in me are women who've already had a kid. That 25-year-old who's already had a child, she seems to be interested in me, but I don't know whether I should go there or not. Do you know? Real talk. So, and even so, you go with that. This is the reality of it. If you go with that lady, right, who's had a child, who's a little bit older than you, bro, the amount of maturity and experience she has, she will eat you alive. You may perceive her as of lower value to you because the fact she's had a child with another man and so forth. She'll eat you alive. She'll eat you alive. She'll use and abuse you because she is just of a higher frame rate to you, full stop. Yeah, I see this play out in life, full stop, and the fact that you're having to resort to that is self-explanatory. You might have a lack of options. So you're 30, she's 30. Now she sees you again. Her biological body clock is ticking. She doesn't want to mess around with the pretty boys no more because the pretty boys have just relied on their looks up until this point and have had nothing to provide and are lacking as far as provisions and resources is concerned. Now, with her body telling her that she needs to have a child, she needs to start preparing to have a child. And in order to secure a safe and secure existence for that child, for the entirety of that child's development, she's going to need someone who can provide to that degree. She's going to start looking for the fatherly figure, right? I.e. the beta provider, which isn't a negative. People point the finger saying that's a negative, say, oh, you should role play as an alpha male even though you're not, right? You should avoid being a beta provider. It's like, bro, look at the real world. Men do provide. Men, you know what I mean? Whether you're going to a brothel and paying so much to shag a woman, or whether you're taking her to dinner to shag a woman, at the end of the day, you're paying some sort of money to shag this woman, right? Or you're investing some sort of time, if not finance. That's the reality of it. This is how this game works. Prostitution is 100%. So, as I'm saying, you're 30 now. You've had a couple of promotions, perhaps, or you have educated yourself. You've maybe established a little business. You've, created a little bit more of an entity for yourself. You have a little bit more to offer. She's now going to look at you in a different way, and she's going to start pursuing you and chasing you. Have you seen how the tables have turned, right? And this is funny because this is when, the women who might start pursuing you are the women you couldn't get when they were of their higher value. And now they've peaked and they're starting to decline. And they've got the baggage that comes from that. Be it, multiple dodgy boyfriends who have left some degree of horrible imprint on her or... and I'm not saying this to be rude, people. Honestly, I'm not doing this to be some sort of, horrible person. This is just the reality of it. I'm living a life of my own right now. I see it around me. And I've been the guy who's just been confused as to why aren't I having too much luck? Because I've been unaware of the biological makeup that both man and woman have had when I've been younger, I've had to learn this game myself. So she might have children because why not? She might be looking to settle down whether she has a child or not. Her looks are starting to fade, and that is really most of the be all and end all as far as the feminine provision is, because We as men don't necessarily have to rely on our looks too much, our aesthetic too much. What we have external to that is more valuable to the woman, but what the woman has to turn us on. Because how am I going to procreate with someone or go out of my way to pursue something which I don't want to get in, you know? That's the way it is. And then you as a man start to see this and perceive this and think, wow, I'm so glad I didn't shoot myself in the foot earlier in desperation because I wasn't getting this traction and momentum within the dating field. I'm glad I'm in this position now. And now you perceive this and observe this, you think, well, surely in 1 year's time, this is going to be amplified. And then there's going to be compound interest on that year. And then as you get older and move into this golden space, you're going to experience the flip side of that feminine experience. You're going to be living as that 22, 23-year-old woman, but in masculine form, in your mid-30s to your 40s. Yeah, you're going to have all these women pursuing you because you are now deemed as the most valuable man. You've got life ahead of you. You've got experience. You've got resource, hopefully, if you've kept yourself healthy and fit. Now, let me just emphasize one thing, right? This is very important. I'm not speaking on men who, from their 20s onwards, have just eaten shit and just sat down and watched the television and have done nothing and have got nothing to talk about. You men need to sort everything out. You need to get the ball rolling and find purpose and value and life and direction for yourself before any woman. Because by the time you hit these numbers, you're actually going to be more repulsive than you ever were anyway. I'm only speaking on the people who have built the actual masculine principles of getting your hands dirty and constructing a life of your own. Yeah, you're going to be able to provide, and you're going to be deemed super valuable. Women are going to start hating on you because they're going to start projecting their own insecurities on you. So let's say you're in your mid-30s, you've not been married, you've not got kids, they could call you gay. They're going to say when you're in your 40s, you're having a midlife crisis because you're getting involved with the women you never had a chance with back then that they're now jealous of because they know they can't compete and they once could, right? So they're going to start throwing names at you and calling you all these horrible things. They're going to see you buying things that you were never able to afford before because now you are in the financial abundant position as to which you never were. So they start calling it a midlife crisis and stuff. It don't look like a crisis to me. Having fun and expressing the fruits of my labor is not a crisis whatsoever. It looks like you've got the crisis because you are expressing that negativity within the world through your own brain to your own mouth into this reality. Do you see? When somebody starts hating on you, just let them be and see them for what they are. They're the one with the problem. It's nothing to do with you. So just smile and wave like them penguins on Madagascar or whatever film it was. This is some serious game. I'm just telling you, men, keep on working. Because your time is coming, yeah? This is the reality of it all. This is it. I'm signing out on that one. Click like and subscribe. Peace.